Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I think we might have a few more join us as we go, since this is a pretty big group this month. Um, but, um, but yeah, it is time where I'm at to start. So here we go. This shouldn't take very long. I just wanted to get you all together to just go over what to expect this month and answer any questions that you might have. So probably about half an hour at the most, and then I'll let you go on your way. And I do appreciate you joining me. So we are in Portfolio Project 3, and this is going to be a continuation of the process that you started back in Portfolio 1. So you're still working with the same portfolio subject that you chose. Usually, I mean, you can change your subject if you really want to, but unless it's you have a good reason for changing, it's best to stick with what you started with, just to keep it all consistent and unified and show a kind of a coherent package of media. So Portfolio 1, you chose your subject. Portfolio 2, you did the style guide. So you have that style guide to refer to this month, and you're going to be revisiting that. So hopefully you saved a copy of that as well. Um, you're going to be filling in that last section that we didn't address in Portfolio Project 2, which is the brand logo. But the major project for the month is going to be a digital video asset. So I believe everyone here should have completed the digital video course by now. Some of you might still be in digital audio. Those two skills are really going to play a big part this month because you're going to be creating an asset related to your subject in some way. And I'll get into the specifics of that in a minute. And looking ahead, we have kind of decided Portfolio 4, you get more freedom to choose what kind of project you want to do that month. So, as long as it's related back to your subject, you'll be working with, I believe Emily Ray will be the instructor for that. But, so that's coming down the pipe in a few months. Any questions so far? Anything that I can address before we get into the specifics of the assignments? Okay. And they might arise as we move along, but yeah, you guys are veterans at this so far, so you know how you know what you're doing. So that there's two assignments this month, so it's a little different than previous portfolio classes. You're going to be doing the logo design, which is the secondary project, really. But this is focusing on graphic design skills, so reaching back to your graphic design course and maybe a little bit from my old aesthetics course as well. And you'll create a logo design for your subject. Now, some of your subjects might already have a logo, and that's okay. This is an academic exercise, so you're kind of doing a little bit of rebranding if they already have an existing design, and you can draw from their creative direction and the major themes of an existing logo, or you can go in your own direction if you think something would better represent that subject. And if there is no portfolio or no logo existing, then you have complete creative freedom, of course. The only restrictions are it must be your own original design and cannot include copyrighted material. So no copyrighted photos or graphics. This has come up very few times, but for example, if um, you don't want to take copyrighted material like symbols or logos of related subjects. I saw one that was a video game. The subject was related to video gaming, and they used part of a logo from an actual game company that would not work in this case. And you want it to tie back to your subject. So think about those brand colors that you established in your style guide and the major themes and personality and typefaces and so forth. So try to capture all that in your logo design and convey the impression and the energy and personality of that subject, whether it's serious or fun and upbeat or what have you. This is something that's not due until the end of the course, toward the end of week 3, but I just wanted to get it in your mind now so you can start working with that. And Carrie, addressing your question, if it was your own original work, then yeah, you can definitely use that at this point. Since it was not a requirement in Portfolio 2, you're just getting ahead of the game. Okay, yeah, absolutely, that would certainly work. And along with that, you'll add it to your style guide so that I think it's the 4th section that was left blank back in Portfolio 2. In most cases, a few people worked ahead and have some examples here. But you're going to also include this information on variations of the logo design, as well as notes on logo usage. So you're putting yourself again in the role of the creative director of this particular subject or the artistic director and telling your hypothetical media team how to use this logo. So if there's any way you can imagine your subject not wanting that logo to be represented, then you would note that under the logo usage. For example, in my own experience, I worked once upon a time for the Lockheed Martin Corporation as employee training, and I was working on a training website for them, and I created this kind of funny logo. It had the Lockheed Martin star symbol zooming around a globe like a satellite, and I kind of got in trouble for that because that was against the rules of the branding style guide. We could not modify the logo in any way. So that's something that would have been noted in the style guide. And so this kind of thing you would want to put here. But really, put some thought into it. If you have a good reason for limiting that, then you would note it here. If it's not really something that matters, then you don't need to worry about making a comment on that. Logo variations are different colors, color schemes, or color backgrounds, or just sometimes you'll see a variation of the logo for use when it's very small so that the details are different, like just kind of a small icon. Or if there are different variations of the logo used in different contexts, say different branches of the business or different particular topics that are dealt with, then you might have a little variation of the logo design as well. And you would include those here. So you're going to have the main logo graphic included in the style guide and any variations along with that. Yeah, and Angel, to your point, proximity issues. So you don't, want it to be crowded. If there's certain sizes or dimensions that it has to adhere to, and so forth. So I think there's an activity in FSO that just says kickoff logo design, and that's just sort of a nudge to get you thinking about it. It's not due until the end of week 3, so you have time to play around with some ideas, but keep that in the back of your mind. But our main focus will be on the video project. And much like the previous, the style guide project and most of the other portfolio projects, this is going to be done in installments. So you will develop it over the course of the 4 weeks. Instead of having a single submission, you'll do you'll show your progress as you move along. Unlike the style guide, though, you're not going to be doing segments. You're actually going to be doing versions to just, like I said, show your progress, show how the project is coming together. Angel, you in your question whether you should submit version 1? Okay, I didn't know if you were referring to the logo or the video. The logo, you don't have to submit versions, but if you want to get my input ahead of time, you're welcome to run it by me. The video, yes, it will be in versions. It's really based on how the digital video course was handled. So the first assignment is just pitching your idea to me. So what are you going to do with this video? And that's for two purposes. One is to get you thinking about how you can apply video in a way that is practical for your subject. What are their media needs? How can video be used to address their goals, their needs, and so forth? It could be, well, I'll get into the options in a minute. And it also, the other purpose is to let me know that you have a clear idea of where you're going with this video, and so I can verify that it makes sense that you're using this for good purpose. And then sometimes I can give you some suggestions for how you might handle different subject matters. Some ideas, and this is certainly not a complete list, but just some of the common uses I see for the videos. Probably the most common is a commercial, a promotional video. So I see that, see a lot of those, and that's a very viable option, one of the probably most common uses of video for business purposes. You can do public service announcements depending on the nature of your subject. So it's very similar to a commercial, but just less used for commercial purpose than just for informational purposes. You're welcome to have fun with this and make a viral marketing or transmedia segment, a transmedia story, or a part of an augmented or an alternate reality game or something along that line, if you want to get really creative. And I haven't seen this one yet, but I know that some of our students are interested in journalism and newscasting, and so if you wanted to do a news report or even sort of an investigative journalistic piece, you could do that. That would be really interesting to see. And similar to that is the short documentary, which I have seen once or twice, but yeah, these are getting into a little more interesting areas of video use. And then there's the entertainment versions, music videos and short films, which I have not seen, but I would love to see it if anyone wanted to take that on. So for more of our filmmaking enthusiasts out there. And then any other idea you can come up with. I'm sure there's things that I haven't included here, different twists on the idea. So are there any questions, or do anybody have ideas of how they might use their video projects? Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good question. And Angel is asking about the length of the videos. I don't designate a length for the video because it will be different for each application. If you're doing a commercial, typically they're 30 seconds, right, for a TV spot, if that. So that would be a good target for a commercial, would be 30 seconds. PSAs can be a little longer, up to 1 or 2 minutes maybe. But then once you get out of those categories, then it's more variable, because if you're doing a short documentary, that can be fairly lengthy. I mean, considering time constraints, I wouldn't imagine you doing anything longer than 5 or 10 minutes tops. But then that limitation is removed at that point. Okay. Carrie, I was just reading your your comment. You're thinking of doing a commercial type video that could be used for crowdfunding, and that's really viable. Actually, that's a good point. That if you look at all the Kickstarter campaigns and even the the other crowdfunding pages, they always have that video included, the pitch, right? So that could be a use for this as well. And Angel, you said a YouTube pre-roll. That's like the little short commercial spots on the YouTube. Yeah, that's something that's interesting, and this is sort of a tangent, but I've noticed a lot of the YouTube-based commercials have not really adjusted to the format, because usually you can count on somebody skipping the ad after a few seconds, and it's amazing how many of them don't automatically jump right into their message instead of trying to set up some kind of drawn out little drama or story, which might work on television, but on YouTube you've got 3 seconds to really catch their attention. So yeah, it is surprising to see how long it's taking advertisers to adapt to that. Oh no, there is no limit, no 30-second time frame requirement. A crowdfunding video like you'd see on Kickstarter, I've seen them go up to maybe 5-10 minutes. It is, like a pitch and an overview. It's something you want to use to get your potential funders interested. So it needs to be engaging. And as far as the footage, for the most part, I would like to see original footage. I know resources can be limited. There are sources available for royalty-free video, but the quality is a little hit and miss unless you're actually paying for subscriptions. So the more you can rely on your own work, the better. And still imagery is viable as well, but it's not as engaging as full motion video. And just making sure I didn't miss any comments or questions. And Carrie's asking if you should avoid talking head video. You should avoid video that's entirely talking heads. You can use a talking head shot to introduce the host and have sort of introduce the subject and then cut to other footage, just for the sake of engagement and viewer interest, because you really would rather not sit and watch someone talk for 5-10 minutes rather than having visuals that actually illustrate what's being said. Make it more interesting, make it more informative, and really bring the subject matter to life. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that, Angel. Okay, so yeah, ideas are starting to roll, and that's great. As far as what you're doing this week, again, it's just a pitch. It's those ideas that are starting to roll. Once they start crystallizing and coming together, then you'll settle on something and post that to the discussion board to give me an idea of where you're going with it. So for this week, you'll tell me about the nature of your video. So those categories, these or whatever else you are able to come up with. Your anticipated runtime, which we've already been talking about. It doesn't have to be exact, and I'm not going to hold you to it, but just an idea, just really so that you're thinking about what all is going to go into the video and being mindful of time constraints, not only practical time constraints for the video, say a 30-second commercial, but also the time you have to actually produce this video. So don't get too ambitious with it, above what we have available. And give a brief synopsis of what you see being the content of the video. So that's talking about the kind of imagery or footage that you want to include. The message, it doesn't have to be a script, but just sort of the overall message of the ad, the tone, whether it's humorous or if it's serious or emotional, and just kind of describe your vision for what you want to produce. And again, very general, but try to give an idea of the assets you'll need. As far as equipment, cameras, green screen, sets, whatever you're going to use, locations, and also if you're going to spend any money on it, or like Angel posted that resource for getting stock video as well. So resources like that would be included as well. And just kind of start really brainstorming. So this should give you an idea of where you're headed and what all you need to do in order to get that finished. Any other thoughts or questions, comments? Okay, good. As far as the structure of the course goes, as I said, it's going to be in sections. This week you're doing the brainstorming, which will give me a chance to, like I said, make sure that you're on track. I very rarely say no to an idea. I don't think I've ever actually rejected an idea. Sometimes I will give some direction as far as what's practical and what's doable. So usually it's going to be approved. All the ideas I'm hearing today, at least, have been in the realm of possibility. So then once that's done, you want to hit the ground running and start getting your footage and collecting your assets. And then the first deliverable will be in week 2 is the rough cut, and that's the I don't think it's referred to as the rough cut in FSO, but the assembly cut, which is just where you're at. It's sort of a status check, make sure that it's coming together. It's probably going to be pretty rough shape at that point. A lot of extra footage maybe, and some not a lot of in the way of refined transitions and so forth. So just to see that you've been working and that it's coming along. End of week 3, you want to have it pretty close to completion, if not at the point of completion. Because class is running down, I can give one more round of feedback at that point so that you can make any changes and refinements that need to be made before the week 4 final deliverable. And I'll give feedback on that as well, but I won't be able to follow up to make sure that you've done it. So it's up to you whether you want to make those changes for your portfolio piece. And remember that this is supposed to be a portfolio piece. So while its purpose, from my perspective, is to show that you're achieving the skill set that we're setting out to infer or impart on you, it should also serve as a showpiece for you. So make this something that you want to show. And I'm excited to see how it all turns out as well, Carrie. So that was it, short and sweet, but just wanted to give you an overview of what to expect this month. Are there anything else that I can help you with at this point before I wrap things up? Okay, and if you guys feel like you're all set and know what you're doing and where you're headed, then I'm happy to let you go. But I do appreciate you taking the time to join me today.